Arnold Palmer will always be remembered as a larger-than-life figure, and this 13-foot bronze statue that now sits right behind the first tee box at Bay Hill Club and Lodge is a reminder of just how much he meant to the game. Golf Central is live from the Arnold Palmer Invitational.
Even today, we follow in his footsteps. It isn't what he did, it's how he did it that made all the difference. It echoes through the generations. He was the first one of them who was one of us. From the dawn of the television era, young Arnold Palmer leapt from the screen, marched into our living rooms, and brought us all along for the ride. That was just the thing about Arnie. How a shot could break his heart. How a tournament could make his year. That set the example for what was to come. The original man against the field. The hero. The heartthrob. The gambler. The king. Unmistakable by his swing, his stance, his stride. For some, many of these things may be true, but only for one are they all true.
Golf Central, brought to you by Titleist.
World number 2, Jason Day, the defending champ this week, was out on the golf course early today at Bay Hill, getting in some work ahead of the 39th edition of the Arnold Palmer Invitational presented by MasterCard. Also on the grounds today, another top 5 player in the world, Henrik Stenson, has quite the resume when it comes to red numbers on this golf course. Is he the man to beat this week? Hello and welcome to our home for the week. It's always a pleasure to be on site at Bay Hill Club and Lodge here in Orlando, Florida, a place that Mr. Palmer called home for so many years. Lisa Cornwell, Billy Kratzer, Nota Begay III. We'll get to the week ahead in just a moment, but we begin right now with our news of the day. 10 months after Muirfield came up short of the votes needed to allow female members for the first time in its long and storied history, a second vote erased that outcome. More than 80% of the ballots voted to accept women as members, well above the 2/3 majority required for approval. For more on this story, we say hello for the first time tonight to Todd Lewis.
Well, Lisa, by voting to admit female members, Muirfield is once again in the open rota. The R&A making that announcement shortly after the news came out of Muirfield this morning. We talked to a couple of Open champions in the field here at the Arnold Palmer Invitational. They are very excited to once again have Muirfield as an open venue. They are also excited that this historic club finally has gender equality.
I applaud them for certainly coming with the times, coming with what seems to be common sense, you know. It seems like our sport is trying to go to common sense in a lot of arenas, most facets of the game. And the one thing is, I mean, it's one of my favorite golf courses I've ever played. And to know that we may never go there again was kind of disheartening.
It's a great step forward. I just don't think the world really needs clubs that don't have, that exclude on the basis of gender or race or anything like that. I don't see what the point is. And so for them to decide to move forward into, the current century is great. And I'm happy for them because it means a lot to their club. And secondarily, also, their golf course is one of the very best in the whole world, and it should be in the rotation.
Great golf course and a lot of history there. It's would have been sad not to have it in the rotation. Stuff is changing the last how many years in golf. I don't see a problem with having women in golf clubs. It's great seeing that clubs are making changes like that.
And the last time the Open was held at Muirfield was 2013. Of course, remember Phil Mickelson won there. And although Muirfield is back in the Open rota, it does not have a date as of now. As a matter of fact, the earliest date possible that the R&A could place Muirfield with the Open, well, that would be 2022. We're going to have to wait and see if indeed that is the date that the Open returns back to Muirfield. Lisa?
Todd, thank you very much. Muirfield has hosted the Open 16 times, and as Todd mentioned, most recently in 2013, when Phil Mickelson last stepped in the winner's circle. As you can see, it's been the venue where some of the game's other greats have hoisted the claret jug, including Ernie Els, who is in the field this week. Noted, turning our attention back to everything that's happening this week at the Arnold Palmer Invitational. It's your first time here since Mr. Palmer's passing. What was it like just stepping foot on here? I know you've had a lot of great moments.
Oh, I certainly have, and being able to visit with some of the players and just talk to them about being here in celebration of Mr. Palmer and what he stood for and all that he represented in our game. And I just remember growing up in Albuquerque, New Mexico with aspirations to at some day play the PGA Tour and then furthermore try and get into these invitational events. And the first time I had the chance to come here and compete, and I got to shake Mr. Palmer's hand. And yes, I was born quite a ways after he was in his prime, but his impact on the game had a profound effect on how I approached things and how I tried to do things as a professional in my young career. And to be able to share that one experience, it was a handful of times I was able to play here, Billy. I know it's special to every single player.
Well, he was very special to a lot of players, and Bay Hill, this was his baby. I mean, he would always kind of tweak it from time to time. And we talk about Jason Day, the #2 player, McIlroy, the #3, and you look at Stenson at 5 and Matsuyama at 4. But the real superstar this week that has a chance to shine, I think, is the golf course itself. I asked all the players. They are just raving about the condition of the golf course. The greens are immaculate. The rough is up. In fact, it's kind of like your hair. It's kind of really thick right now up top, and you know what? You never want to hit it in there. But the smile came out from Sam Saunders when I was walking the golf course with him down the 16th hole. Some of the mowers were out there topping the rough off, and a big smile came across. And Adam Hadwin was out there too, so they were happy that the rough was being topped off, because right now that rough is penalized.
What is it about Begays here? Pat Perez was commenting on it earlier. You're paying people off?
We love it. We love it.
All right, I'm going to rub it for good luck a little bit later. Well, it's obvious how much players, both past and present, do respect and appreciate everything Mr. Palmer did for the game. And here are some more ways to prove it. When you crunch the numbers, it's the 3rd strongest field worldwide we've seen all year. 11 of the top 17 players in the world are in the field, including 4 of the top 5, including some of those guys. Jason Day and Rory McIlroy headline a star-studded field at Bay Hill for one of the most eagerly anticipated tournaments of the year. Tour pros and fans alike gathered to honor one of golf's most celebrated figures. Our coverage of the Arnold Palmer Invitational presented by MasterCard begins Thursday, 2 p.m. on Golf Channel and continues Saturday, 2:30 Eastern on NBC. Still to come, defending champ Jason Day was on the course today at Bay Hill. Can he fix his putting woes and get things back on track? When players arrive this week, they'll make a quick stop in Mr. Palmer's office. We'll show you their reactions to being in the King's Throne. And API host Curtis Strange has ties to Arnold Palmer dating back to his college days at Wake Forest. Coming up, the Hall of Famer joins us on set right here at Bay Hill. It's all ahead on Golf Central.
Golf Central is brought to you by the Volkey Design SM6 wedges, progressive design, precision performance, Grip Confidence, Grip Golf Pride.